Love and work. Work and love. That's all there is. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is: what does a woman want? He that has eyes to see and ears to hear may convince himself that no mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. If a man has been his mother's undisputed darling, he retains throughout life the triumphant feeling, the confidence in success, which not seldom brings actual success along with it. The ego is not master in its own house. Flowers are restful to look at. They have neither emotions nor conflicts. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises. The tendency to aggression is an innate, independent, instinctual disposition in man. It constitutes the powerful obstacle to culture. Whoever loves becomes humble. Those who love have, so to speak, pawned a part of their narcissism. What we call happiness, in the strictest sense, comes from the preferably sudden satisfaction of needs which have been damped up to a high degree. Everywhere I go, I find that a poet has been there before me. Children are completely egotistic. They feel their needs intensely and strive ruthlessly to satisfy them. One is very crazy when in love. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. Illusions commend themselves to us because they save us pain and allow us to enjoy pleasure instead. We must therefore accept it without complaint when they sometimes collide with a bit of reality against which they are dashed into pieces. The physical, whatever its nature may be, is itself unconscious. Analogies, it is true, decide nothing, but they can make one feel more at home. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. Most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility. And most people are frightened of responsibility. The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. What a distressing contrast there is between the radiant intelligence of the child and the feeble mentality of the average adult. Civilization began the first time an angry person cast a word instead of a rock. Dreams are often most profound when they seem the most crazy. A man who has been the indisputable favorite of his mother keeps for life the feeling of a conqueror. Men are more moral than they think, and far more immoral than they can imagine. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Every normal person, in fact, is only normal to the average. His ego approximates to that of the psychotic in some part or other, and to a greater or lesser extent. Opposition is not necessarily enmity. It is merely misused and made an occasion for enmity. The act of birth is the first experience of anxiety, and thus the source and prototype of the effect of anxiety. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Where does a thought go when it's forgotten? Love and work are the cornerstone of our humaneness. A civilization which leaves so large a number of its participants unsatisfied and drives them into revolt neither has nor deserves the prospect of a lasting existence. A woman should soften, but not weaken a man. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes, but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what direct his conduct in the world. The madman is a dreamer awake. Men are strong so long as they represent a strong idea. They become powerless when they oppose it. Just as a courteous businessman avoids investing all his capital in one concern, so wisdom would probably admonish us also not to anticipate all our happiness from one quarter alone. Man has, as it were, become a kind of prosthetic god. When he puts on all his auxiliary organs, he is truly magnificent, but those organs have not grown on him and they still give him much trouble at times. The liberty of the individual is no gift of civilization. It was greatest before there was any civilization.